Good afternoon, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me today for our Toddler Salt Dough Shapes and Designs program. I am so happy you could join me this afternoon. Okay, so today we are going to make some shapes and designs out of homemade salt dough. Very simple to make. And before I begin, I just want to show you something that I made out of salt dough. This is a unicorn ornament. I also made a pretty heart. Not sure if you could see it. It's a heart with a bird on the inside of the heart, and it's actually a white dove. It's a sequin. Okay, so let's go over the ingredients. 3 very simple ingredients for this program. We need all-purpose flour, some iodized salt, and some warm, tepid water. I will give you the measurements. You need 1 cup of salt, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and 1 cup of lukewarm water. Today I am actually condensing the recipe just a little bit, so I am going to use 1/4 cup of salt, 1/2 cup of flour, and 1/4 cup of water. And that should give me maybe 6 or 7 shapes. So if you're going to do the recipe that I originally gave you, it's going to give you probably about 12 to 15 shapes. So you could do whatever you want. You could condense it, you could keep it as a whole recipe, whatever you want to do. So there are a few other things that we need. We need a bowl and a spoon. We need a spatula. We need some paint. And if you want, you could use stickers or sequins or beads, whatever you'd like to decorate your ornament or your shape with. I have some paint brushes to paint it with. I have measuring cups, and on each measuring cup, you will see the size of the measuring cup. I'm not sure if you could see it. This is actually 1/4 cup. I have a 1/2 cup. I have a whole cup, which I'm not using because I'm not using the whole recipe. I also have over here, I have a rolling pin, which is optional, and I'll explain this to you. This recipe needs to dry. It could dry on its own. If you leave it to air dry, it's about 48 hours. If you'd like to dry it sooner, you can put it in an oven on 250 for approximately 35 to 45 minutes. We'll talk more about that when we start making the dough. Okay, I have a little bit of a cutting board. If I need to roll the dough out, you don't have to. Again, that's optional. You could spread it out with your hands, and we'll talk about that too. I have some cookie cutters. Today I have a little bear. I have my unicorn cookie cutter, and I also have my heart cookie cutter. You, again, can use anything you want. All right, are we ready to begin? I sure am. Okay, let's start with the flour. I need a 1/2 cup of flour, so I'm going to get my cup, the 1/2 cup, and put it in the flour, and you want to just shake it a little bit. I'm not sure if you could see what I'm doing. You probably can. I'm just shaking it so it's level on top. You don't want it to be heaping. Okay. I'm going to put it in my bowl, and now I need to put this flour away. We don't need it anymore. Get it out of the way so you can see me better. 1/4 cup of salt. So we're going to pour the salt, and again, you want it to be level. You don't want it to be heaping. I'm going to shake it a little to level it out. This is good. We have a 1/4 cup of salt. I already measured the water. So this is our warm, tepid water, and I have a 1/4 cup of that as well. Before I pour the water in, you want to kind of just stir it up a little bit. And this is a really great program for toddlers. You could teach them measurements. You could teach them how to stir. It's something that's not going to be edible, although if they do eat it, it's not hazardous in any way. But it's a really nice introduction to learning measurements and learning how to cook. Roll out dough. So I'm going to pour the water in now that I stirred everything up. And I'm going to stir it. I don't know if you can see me stirring it. I'm going to stir it until it almost forms into a dough-like substance. Okay, I have a little bit of water left. Let's put the rest in there. All right. So if you could see, it's already starting to form the dough. All right, so once it starts to form, you want to get all those dry ingredients mixed in. So now it's starting to form, and I'm just going to take it with my hands. I'm going to mix it up a little bit with my hand, as I'm doing now. And this is what you call kneading. I am kneading the dough. I'm mixing all the ingredients. I'm kneading it and mixing. That should be good. Look at it. Now it's like all solid piece of dough. And I'm still gonna kind of knead it with my hands. I'm rolling it into a ball. See? And this is also fun for toddlers. They get to feel it. It's like a tactile recipe that I like to do. Okay, so I have this little cutting board. I'm going to put it there. Now, this is fun for the toddlers to do with their hands. You could roll it out with your hand, and the only reason why, and it doesn't stick like cookie dough would. It kind of peels off really nice, depending on the surface that you put it on. The only reason why I like the rolling pin, and this is also fun for toddlers, and they do have smaller rolling pins for the littles. I like to roll it because I like to get it nice and smooth. So when it dries, it's easier to paint or decorate. All right, so we have our dough rolled out. You see? I don't know if you could see it. Okay, so it's ready to be shaped. So let me see. You know what? I am going to use the Bear cookie cutter. So I'm taking the cookie cutter and I'm putting it right on top of the dough, and I'm gonna push it in real nice, and then I'm shimmying it from left to right just a little bit. I want to show you what I'm doing here. You see? So I'm gonna shimmy it a little bit. I'm gonna lift it straight up. I am going to take the dough away from the shape, just so I could lift it, make it a little bit easier to lift it with the spatula. All right. So it's a little moist. And if it is moist, you may want to add a little bit of flour. So we're going to have to do that actually. It is a little bit moist, so I'm going to put it back in the bowl, not a problem. Add some more flour to it, not a lot, just a little bit more flour. Make it a little bit easier to work with. And there you go, that's perfect. All right, we just had to add some more flour in. Now it's gonna make it easier to use with the cookie cutter. And that happens sometimes. So I'm going to, and it's okay that the flour falls on the cutting board because it'll probably be easier to use it. Let's try that again. And this is actually gonna be fun for the toddlers because they get to play with the dough a little bit more. I could see already that that's a little bit better. Okay, so we're gonna do this again. We're gonna take our cookie cutter, put it in, shimmy it a little bit. Ah, there you go. Much, much better. Take the dough away, the excess dough. All right. We are going to, you could use a small knife or whatever you have to take away that excess dough. And this is also fun for the kids. If you have a plastic knife, something not so sharp, or a toddler knife from a cooking set, that may work. Really don't want children using knives. And this is also a program that you want to do. So you take your spatula and you lift it up really nice. And there you go, you have your teddy bear. I don't know if you could see it, but one of your sheeps is all done. So I like to put it in the oven. It speeds it up, especially, you know, when you're doing something, you don't want to wait 2 days to finish it. So I put it on a cookie pan and I kind of reshape it a little bit. You don't need anything like oil or anything on the pan. It's a very different kind of dough. I put it in the oven on 250 and I wait between, again, 35 minutes and 40 minutes, and I have it right here. Okay. So when you are done cutting, you have to re-roll your dough, press it down, and start all over again. So you want to maybe try the unicorn, and you put that in there, and you start the process all over again. Okay? So now, why don't we paint the unicorn? This is what it looks like when it's all dry. It almost looks like a cookie, but it's not like a cookie. It's real hard. You could hear it, okay? So, it is ready to paint. And I would suggest letting it cool before you paint it. So, I think with our unicorn, as you see, I used a couple of different colors. All right, so we are going to paint our unicorn purple. All right, let's get that purple on our unicorn. So what I did was I took a dark purple and I added a little bit of white to soften it up because it was really, really dark. And I like the more pastel type of colors. All right, so we're painting our unicorn with our kind of like a lavender purple color. So what I did with my unicorn, I let it dry for a couple of minutes. If you're going to add another color, you really want to let the paint dry first. So, painting mine purple. You could paint the back, but I would suggest again, letting the whole thing dry first on one side, and then you want to flip it over, paint the back. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, if you do plan to make an ornament out of your unicorn, you do want to put a hole in it to hang it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I painted my whole unicorn purple. I don't know if you can see it. It's starting to get a little messy. Painted it purple. And then what you want to do, like I did with this, I painted the horn a different color, and I painted the edges all different colors, just to add some colors. And what I did for the eye is I used a little sequin, which I have right here in the middle of my paint palette. I have some sequins that you could decorate with, but also I want to show you how I made my hole. Before you dry it, see my teddy bear? I'm taking the edge of the paintbrush and I'm putting it right here to make a hole. And you want to just twist it and move it around because when it cooks, it may shrink a little bit. So you want to do that. You see? I made a hole. Now you can hang it and you could give it away. So I used a pipe cleaner to hang my unicorn, and I'm going to give it away as a gift. I am already making my Christmas gifts for next year. Okay, so I think we're right about done. We just made some really cool salt dough ornaments, and I hope that you enjoyed our program. I hope you join me for some more programs in the following weeks, and I do hope that you enjoy your day. Thank you and have a great day. It was good to see you all again.